Hello, everybody. My name is Maruf Rakib, and I'm going to share my first 6 months coming to US as an international student. So I'll be sharing my experience ever since I got here and how I felt about United States for the first 6 months. Actually, let's keep it short. So I still remember the first day that I landed here in US. It felt so great. It was just me and my dad, and we came to Pennsylvania at that time. We landed in Pennsylvania airport, and our uncle came to pick us up from the airport. It was the January 1st. I'm sorry, January 20th, 2020, 2017. I still remember that day. And what's crazy is that was the first time I ever experienced like the cold weather. It was so cold. It was January and I didn't expect it to be that cold. You know, like the wind was cold, the feeling was cold, my body was stiff. My dad came before me, so he was already used to the cold experience. But for me, coming from Middle East, this was the first time that I ever felt like this cold. And so Um, that was the first ever experience. When I got out of the airport, I got in the car. And then we were driving. It was a long drive, and yeah, let me tell you, it was a 13-hour flight from Qatar. It was a 13 straight long flight from Qatar at that time. And I remember after I got home, um, on the news, it was President Trump who got elected at that time when I landed. It was his first inauguration, I guess that's what you call it, inauguration, and he started banning like most of the Muslim countries and all that immigration laws. So I was telling to myself like, "Yo, I made it. I mean, I came to the U.S. on the perfect time. Maybe it was meant to happen." And so a few things I'll go over since we have little time. I don't want to make a very long video on this. So I came. Uh, I was in New Jersey from Philadelphia. That's where I landed, but I used to stay with my uncle for the first 6 months, and that was not even 6 months. I guess it was 3 months. Yeah, and that was in New Jersey. So, and my college at that time was in Queens, and I would travel to Queens from New Jersey to get to school. And first thing I found weird was even for colleges and universities, they call it school. And it was like weird, but now I'm used to it. I call it school too. I barely say college or universities. Anyway, so first few days go by and I'm staying, at their place, and my uncle is like, go out, see how it is. And I'm like, what if I got lost? Then they're like, you have our address, just put it on GPS and it'll tell you how to get back. And I was like, wow, because I've never used like GPS, like Google Maps and stuff, heavily when I was in Qatar, because every time we'd go out, it was with friends and stuff, and they knew where they're going. I would just jump in the car, so I really didn't have to worry about the maps, the GPS, or anything. And so basically, I started using GPS, and I went out, and it was nice. And I remember in February, like the next month, it started snowing, and it was the first time I saw snow, and it felt so good. It felt so nice because where I'm coming from, it was sunny and desert, and it was 100 degrees all the time. So for me to see like snow for the first time was wow. But wait. So what happened after the snow was the worst thing ever. Everything is rock solid. People are pissing and like it's dirty and all that stuff. Like in few days, and it was big, like high amount of snow buildup. That was gross, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, all of it. It was first time in a new place, new perspective, new people. And I took trains and stuff, and I knew I was going the wrong way because you have the same train going left, same train going right, right, but on different tracks. But I didn't know. I was like, oh, it's the E train. Let's get on the E train. But I learned as I went, and there were times when I left my wallet and I didn't have my Metro card, and I would ask strangers to help me go through the thing, go through the what do you call it? The the roll. I'll just put it somewhere. So anyway, those are the first little experiences. And another thing I realized, this is also within the first 6 months, is that the teachers and students relationship in classroom, the students were kind of rude. I would describe them as rude because they would just make jokes, like jokes that you don't, or maybe because this was my first time in college, because I'm coming from school, high school, and then entering into a college in a new place with new people, a new environment and everything. So it was all weird. But the students that I saw were from different parts of the world, right, with different accents and everything, myself included. So what was normal to me now it's weird, right? Because in back in Qatar, I had friends and families and stuff, so they're all mostly Indian and Pakistani, like let's say East Asians, right, and Filipinos and Sudanese and Muslims. So it was it's different coming to US and you see like wow, a lot of people from different parts of the world. And I am in New York City at that time, in Queens, seeing all these things. And like it was just crazy. It was just crazy experience. So anyway, going back to students and teachers. So whenever the student would ask a question to the teacher, I just found like they wouldn't ask permission to ask a question or anything. Like the way I was raised was like you have to respect your teachers and elders and parents and everything, right? But here I saw like these kids don't do that. It's just like I had a question, I asked, and oh, like they're always like freedom of speech, and I'll ask however. Like I get it, like yeah, freedom of speech, but like you have to draw the line of showing respect to some people, right? You cannot freedom of speech everybody and everywhere and just. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I live in this country. I gotta follow the rules, but it's just my personal thing. And another cool experience was when I visited the library with my aunt and my cousins, and we were walking to the library at that time. This was before school started. So school started in March, so this should be around January or February again. So we walked to the library, and I got a library card, and the kids, like my cousins, would pick up their books, and I always loved like books and stationaries and libraries and stuff. I've never completed any book, by the way. So it was nice, being in that environment for the first time. I know you guys must be thinking like, wow, in a library for the first time, that's wild. But so many things happened in that first 6 months was the first time for me. And what did I write here? There was the last thing I was going to talk about. Mm, Yeah, so I wrote malls. I don't know why, but basically, like going to Walmart and stuff, it felt different. Everything just felt different. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but You go to Walmart, right? And then when you get out, they make sure they check your receipts and everything. I know for people that are watching this thing, it's fine. Anyway, um, yeah, I guess I'll continue later. I don't know if I should do a part two on this, um, but this was the first time doing it, so let's see. Part two, maybe I'll do another 6 month, like cover the whole year of me coming to US, and then we can continue and see how it goes and see where it leads. So, bye. Take care.